Hey, welcome to the Goldie May live demo. It's great to be here with all of you. Maybe I'll just give ourselves a few more seconds for people to join. I'm planning, I think we get about 20 or 30 minutes today to do this demo. So I'm planning to do something similar to yesterday. If you saw that, there were several people that didn't see that. So I wanted to make sure everybody had the chance. But we'll also maybe do a broader view in some ways of what was there yesterday. Maybe I'll just ask you to respond in chat if here on YouTube, if you can't hear me or if anything seems wrong here on this first stream. But yeah, I'm looking forward to giving you a little demo here of Goldie May. If you happen to be here yesterday and you had any follow-up questions, you could put those in the chat as well, and I'd be happy to see if I can address them as we go. I'll give it just one more minute for us to get started. Okay, let's jump right in then. I'll switch over to screen sharing, and I have Family Search pulled up here. I'm logged in, and if you haven't seen Goldie May before, goldiemay.com is the place to learn all about it, to install it. It's a free Chrome extension. It also works with Microsoft Edge. So you could go here, install it. I've done that before. So you'll see this black G over here on the right side of my browser. I'll click the black G to open it, and we could just kind of adjust these screens a little bit. Okay, so in the menu of Goldie May, you'll see the major features. The split view I'll show you is for where you organize your projects. Research log is a mostly free feature that you would see as a free user just logging in for the first time, and I'll go into depth about that. The subway map is the new timeline feature that's new in the last few months that I want to definitely show you. I think that's an exciting one. That's part of the Goldie May Plus and Pro packages or subscriptions. So you'll those are options. And then Canvas is also new, Workspaces, volunteering. So the kind of three paid features are Subway, Canvas, and Workspaces. And I'll show you each of those plus the research log today. So let's jump in. I'll show you first the subway map. Okay, I'm gonna just actually make my screen a little bigger here too. The subway map's a timeline tool. So I'll pull up an ancestor from Family Search, and you'll see instantly this line gets drawn. And what you see along the side here are places where this person lived, and then years along the bottom. And you get this line showing all the points where the person lived according to the sources. So each of these little white dots is a subway stop, and they represent a fact from the Family Search tree indicating where this person lived at that certain time. So these come from, not directly from the sources, but if you kind of look through your vitals info and your other info, each of the places and dates there end up in this subway map. So the horizontal lines represent someone living in the same place over time. And so you know here that Josephine was living in Copenhagen for this stretch of her life. And then the vertical line, and this isn't quite vertical, but the vertical line represents a migration. So she moved from Copenhagen to Utah in somewhere between age 34 and age 36. And then she lived the rest of her life in Utah. So just we'll go through the basics here of the subway map, and you'll see kind of what insights you can get from it. Okay, here's one where you see more diagonal lines. Now, diagonal lines represent some ambiguity in the sources. If I look at Mete, age 32, she was living in Denmark, and then age 41, she's in Utah. But where was she for those 9 years in between? That's what we don't know. And so that diagonal line represents some ambiguity, and we'd love to make it straighter. Vertical's good, horizontal's good. Diagonal, we want to fix. So what I'll go to is the Goldie May subway map hints. I'll turn on hints here. You'll see these gold dots appear, and these are collection hints, I've been calling them, that where we might be able to find Mette in a collection. So here's the Denmark census 1850. Here's the 1855 Denmark census. If we're able to find her in one of those census records, we'll know that she stayed in Denmark, and we'll have that horizontal line. But if, on the other hand, she was in the 1850 U.S. census, then we'll know she moved to Utah before then, and she, that line will be straight in Utah. So so with Goldie May, you just need one click to open these records. You'll just click on Family Search. That will launch a search for her in the 1850 census. It's not it's not a general search. It's in the 1850 Denmark census. And so then you have a lot fewer people to compare as opposed to doing a general search. And I found that, it's easy to remember, I guess here in the U.S., it's easy for me to remember the U.S. censuses every decade. The British ones are every decade on the first year of the decade. But, all the different countries' censuses, all the different U.S. states, it's kind of hard to remember the years and the ranges for those. So those are all in, as far as I know, the subway map. And so those will pop up, and I hopefully be useful to you. I find them very useful, especially when they're the censuses I didn't expect that are off the decade. Okay, so those are the hints. You may have noticed that there's other check marks here to include parents. So you could include the parents' subway lines and compare. You'd expect the parents' lines to start before the child, of course, and then have some overlap in theory where they were living at the same time, and then maybe the child leaves at some point and goes off. So those are options to turn on there too. Okay, next I want to show you the zigzag. So if you're looking at a subway map and you see this zigzag, you see this, let's see, let me go back here. If you see this zigzag here, see how that goes up and down? That should set off alarm bells for you. That means that we may have a problem. And what it is that this is the late 1700s, early 1800s. We would not expect William to be going back and forth from England to New York, then back to England, then back to New Jersey, then back to England. What these points are the births of his children. And so as you hover over these, you see that he's got these children born in various locations. And this is kind of you may have heard of James Tanner's 12 Rules of Genealogy. It's the idea in his first rule of genealogy that when the baby was born, the mother was present. And so, it may not exactly be true for the father, but if we were looking at a woman's line, we would expect that the birth of her children are events in her life by definition. And so those are going to be points on her subway line. And what we're learning from this particular subway line is that we may have a problem here. We may have some bad data. Maybe in this particular case, this William Wilson profile is actually, two or more William Wilsons or families merged together accidentally. The equivalent here is that you scroll down to these 16 children, and if you were to click on each of them and look at their birthplace, you'd kind of quickly see that there's a problem here. And that's the insight you get from the subway map really quickly, really visually. You don't need to click on each of the 16 children to see that. You instantly see that zigzag pattern, and there's a problem here. So that's what you learn from the zigzag. Okay, let me look at another example here. This is a merge page, so we're looking at two profiles. We're considering whether to merge them together. The subway map helps us make that decision. If two profiles are the same person, we'd expect them to be in the same place at the same time, and that's what the subway map shows. The green profile in Massachusetts, later in New York, and the red one's really similar. Nothing, in my opinion, conflicting there. And so if I were, based on the subway map, I'd feel really good about merging these two profiles. And that's, really instant. And you'd want to still kind of comb through these columns and look side by side and make sure it looks all right. But, when you're merging two profiles, you may not care as much about where they are as that they're in the same places at the same time. And that's what you see in the subway map. Okay, one more. Here is a source linker page. So this is the source linker where, as you know, the family tree family is on the right and the census record is on the left. And when we open the details tab for these families, these individuals, it picks up more data. So the red dots are the data that would be added to the tree if this record is attached to the tree. So this looks like a really good match. I mean, the tree says that this person was born in Adams County, Illinois, 1898. The new census record coming in says 1899. That's a great match for a census record. And then here again, the black dots on the tree show him living in Dawson County, Nebraska. And then the census record also right in between Dawson County, Nebraska. So this also looks like a great match based on the places. Now, again, you'd go through and look at the names and see if other things line up. But based on the locations, it's a really good fit for attaching this record to the tree. Okay, you may have noticed that I hovered over a couple of these things and there's some little pop-ups that come up. This is to give you an opportunity to do locality research. So if you don't know anything about Illinois, you're kind of wanting to confirm something or learn about it, hover over Illinois, up pop these links, and you can open them up to see the Illinois article in the Family Search Wiki or the Illinois portion of the Family Search catalog, etc. You click over to that, and you no longer have to. I clicked the U.S. one here. You don't have to go find the wiki and then look up Illinois. Just one click and you're there. And so if you wanted to look up a tax record or a probate record or something to support your decision, either on any of these pages, you're doing the source linker, you're doing a merge, you're on your tree. It's a really fast way to jump into those resources in a place-by-place way. You may have noticed too that in the beginning I changed the precision on this. So you can switch on the counties, the cities, and let me go back to one of these really busy ones. The line really changes shape as you change the precision. And if you look at it and you think, whoa, this is overwhelming, then you just turn down the precision a little bit to where it starts to be manageable and you get insights. Sometimes, if you look at somebody that's, Josephine was just in 2 countries. So if we look at hers, very easy to see it. If we kind of turn up the precision a little bit, we get a little more detail. And so you choose the precision level that works for you to get insights into what's going on. It may be different for each ancestor that you're looking at. Okay, so this is that's the kind of quick rundown of the subway map. I've found it to be super useful. I hope you do too. That's part of the Goldie May Plus package, Plus subscription. Let me go now to the research log. There are actually 2 views of the research log, and what I'll do is go to the split view first. This is where you can create a new project. So I'll create a new project here, and we'll say that we're going to just confirm all the children or something. Okay, let me pause here for a second. Yesterday it was kind of fun to do this, so I think I'll do it again today. If you have any Family Search people IDs, person IDs from Family Search Tree that you want me to take a look at in the subway map, I'd love to try that. So feel free to paste those into the chat. I'll pull a couple of them out, and we'll just evaluate them in the subway map together, see if we get any insights from those. And I'll just move on and then come back to that. Okay, so we have I have the research log pulled up here. Now there's a couple ways to use the research log. You can either log pages manually, so I can click this log this page button, and you'll see that the URL that's was over here on the left gets copied over to the right under this under this side of the research log. So you'll see the title here, the URL. You can like and dislike, add a comment. You can write a little abstract or summary of this page if you're logging a record. And then for Goldie May Pro users, and this is I believe the only Pro feature in the research log, everything else is free. When you log a record, it copies the citation for you. So let me show you that. I'll open up a record. I have automatic logging turned on, so just by virtue of having clicked that new tab, it'll appear in the log. And then you see this, this little bookmark icon is kind of darkened. It means that it picked up a citation for this page automatically. So you'll click this and you'll see the citation came over. It was from this part here. So if you're a professional genealogist, need to keep citations, then this is an easy way to do it, because it'll copy all over the citations for you. It also works on Ancestry. So if I browse to an Ancestry record, there's a place on the Ancestry records where it says sources. There's a sources tab, and that source will be copied over to the source, or the citation area of Goldie May. So that's great for professionals. You can comment, you can put a status update, kind of leaving notes to yourself about what's going on. And one of the virtues for me of Goldie May is that this data is all stored in the cloud. So if you have done all this research, you've logged all these pages, and you want to pick it up tomorrow, you close Goldie May and open it again, it's there. If you go to the library and install Goldie May on a library computer, if that's allowed, then you'll log into your account and all the data will come up. You don't have to carry a thumb drive or paper. All your data will be there. So for me, that's been a great thing to have all the research with me. And I can go to the BYU Family History Library and access the records that are additionally available there, and take notes, take screenshots, etc., put it in Goldie May, and then just go home. I don't have to have a thumb drive with me. So that's one thing I really like. Now I see a couple of IDs coming in for people to look at on the subway map. So let me do a couple of those. Let's see here. We'll do this one. Switch the subway map here. Okay, Sherman Lewis Brown. Okay, we've got a couple of zigzags, don't we? So we're looking at the county level. That may make it less of an issue. But if I go to state level, then what do we see? Born in Ohio, 3 records in Ohio, then marriage in Kentucky. That could be fine. And then back in Ohio. And then we've got one offshoot of a birth of a child, Brown 1904, in Kentucky, and then everything's back in Ohio. So, maybe the marriage happening in another state isn't as much of an issue. That could, easily happen. But then, in early 1900, would we have a reason to think there is this other child born in Kentucky? Maybe that could definitely be true, but it would maybe give us a little question mark to go look at it, right? So I would scroll down and find that Brown 1904 baby that was born in Kentucky, and maybe we'd want to find sources for that person and really confirm, are these the right parents? Was she really born in Kentucky, etc. So that's what we want to do there. We could turn on this is QX6. We could turn on her line. She doesn't have any points besides that birth point, so nothing else from that. So yeah, that's the insight I would get from this particular one. We'd want to just find out if that child really belongs to this family or somewhere else. Okay, let me pull up another one. This is a Swedish one, they said. So this is, okay, we see a little bit of zigzag here too at the state level. Let me go to just country level first. Sweden. Everything in Sweden, and then boom, one child born in Finland. Okay, so that's a really sharp, line back, and so we'd want to look at that line of Matson. What was the year on that one? 1855, and just to see, is this child really part of the family? Really similar name, of course, but that automatically sticks out to me as something to look at. And then if we go to the state level, then we get a lot more zigzag, but I, not knowing Sweden, don't know if these states, and I don't even know if they're called states versus provinces or something, but I don't know if these states are close to each other, and this is normal behavior for them to be across the state lines. But if I look horizontally across this line, you kind of see several data points really strong in this Kopparberg, Sweden. And so, maybe that's one more reason to think those do belong to the same family. Maybe you start to question, though, on the other hand, are these, not knowing this family, not knowing this research, are these ones to look at as maybe being part of a different family. You know, Matson, maybe Matson's a common name, and so some of these children got merged into this family accidentally. You know, I'd look across these horizontal lines to find similarity there too. So that's one. Maybe I'll do one more. Let's see, I've got this ID here. That one didn't bring up much data there. So that one, nothing, you know, no insights from the subway map. We'd have to kind of start building up the sources. And that's an early 1600s one where Goldie May wouldn't have any census records for those ones. Let's see if we get one more here. Ambrose Bierce. Yeah, so, okay, look at that. Let's see what that line might be telling us. I'll go to country, and we get in the US, and then a couple offshoots to the UK. So are those really his children in England, or just a similar name? You know, if we dial it up to state level, then this may be the normal path we'd expect for this person from Ohio to Indiana to DC to California, but it's a lot of moving too for late 1800s perhaps. So we'd want to just look at that and see if the sources really direct us in one way or another. So, okay, I'll leave it there for our 3 demos. I'm seeing a question here. So subway maps based on sources or the additional facts beyond vital records? They're based on that's a great question. They're based on the facts that come from the sources, not directly on the sources. So you may have in the past added a source like this, 1850 US Census, and you know when you're in the source linker and it says, would you like to add the fact that this person lived in Summit County, Ohio in 1850, and it's kind of automatic. It adds the fact for you. Well, if you ever go back to this profile and remove the source, it doesn't automatically remove the fact too. So you can get in a case where the facts are a little bit off from the sources. And so if you ever see that the subway map looks wrong, you know, something about the data looks wrong, then you could go into your facts, other information, or vitals, and just clean those up. You know, standardize the places, standardize the dates, make sure the facts still apply based on the sources that are still there, and that would clean up the line and redraw it to be what it should be. So, okay, let's go to the research log. And the other thing I want to show you is, I clicked into this widescreen view of the research log, and it's the newer view. Right now there's 2 views on the research log, but I like this widescreen one a lot. The other thing I wanted to show you here was the ability to screenshot a source. So you've come into one of these sources, maybe you're even at the library, right? And you want to keep this in your research. You can right click and choose take a screenshot, and I don't know if I got the right family here, but I'll take a screenshot of that family. You're clicking, drawing the box, releasing, and that goes in your research log, and that's there in the cloud for your my watch turned on. That's there in the cloud for you to pick up anytime. So you can like that, dislike it, etc. And then the other thing I want to show you about screenshots or about the research log is that you can export. So you can export the log as a CSV file. And you know, if I go to my desktop, pull that into a spreadsheet program, see that pop up, and it'll have all the data that we just logged. So let's see if that'll open. Okay, yeah. So date, URL, title, and there's the citations for the records that had citations. So that lets you work with it elsewhere if you need to get it out of Goldie May. Okay, the one other thing I want to show you, the research log mostly free except for those citations. A paid feature brand new at RootsTech this year is the Canvas. This is an alternate view of the screenshots you've already taken. So you can think of this as printing out your records, leaving them on a table, and then being able to rearrange them however you want. And I have a video here at RootsTech called Swim Lanes, and it's a technique that I use when I run into a really messy situation like this William Wilson, right? I want to kind of back up and say, wait a second, this was the really big zigzag one. I want to look back and say, which sources really apply to this family, and who, on the other hand, is a family living in Canada and the US. And so I want to kind of take a fresh look at all the sources. So coming soon, the Canvas will be live here at RootsTech. Coming in a few weeks from now is a little feature of the canvas called Save Sources. And the idea here is that, we could go in here manually and, draw a take a screenshot of each of these records one by one, and then we'd be able to compare all the sources ourselves. But this feature coming out in a couple weeks will be Save Sources. I'll click it, then my hands are off the mouse, and it's going to just scroll through and one by one take a screenshot of each of the sources. You'll see them kind of pile up there on top of the canvas. And we've got 18 here, so I guess I could talk for a while here while this is going. But the idea here is that you're going to get all these screenshots, and then you're going to start grouping them by place. As they come in, you'll see different counties of England where these records are coming from. Some are consistent, some are not. And what we're going to do is just be able to take a fresh look at this person and kind of clean up a mess. So that's what's going on here. And what I'll do is, I need to let this finish. I'll look at the chat here while this is going and just see if there's any questions I can answer. Firefox is a question that came up. I don't have Firefox support yet. I'm considering it, and so thanks for the vote on that. I'll take that into account. And then let me see what else we have here. And then about this recording, yes, it will be available on video afterwards. Which version of Goldie May will have the canvas? The plus version, the middle tier. So that you can look for that shortly here in RootsTech. Okay, so what we'll do is just start moving these apart. Imagine just having these on your kitchen table. Make this big, and you can kind of zoom in, zoom out. And some of these got a little bit, got screenshot, kind of funny. But the idea here, I guess I'd say go look at the swim lanes video I did in RootsTech here. But the idea is we're just going to start to group together each of these places. And so we see these Buckinghamshire, England ones. I'd kind of put those together, put the Kent ones together, the Yorkshire ones together. And then as you kind of pull these apart into groups, you'll just use your own judgment to say, yeah, these ones kind of fit together. These other ones don't fit with those. And so you group them into families. And with that done, you'd go back to the tree and start to, fix it. Take some of the kids, put them in a separate family where they belong. Maybe you need to create a new William Wilson that is going to be the father of, some of the children that you're pulling out. But for me, this canvas approach, which you'll see in the video, I was using a different tool before Goldie May for this, but for me, it's been a really helpful, useful technique. So I hope it's useful to you. Okay, so let's just go through a couple more things. Workspaces. Okay, this is the idea that sometimes you just have a bunch of tabs open. You've probably been there. Maybe you've had far more than these 7 or whatever. You can click the button and it will save all of those tabs and windows to a workspace, which you can come back to later. And even if you have multiple windows, imagine you have this window floating out here because you're kind of doing side by side and you're comparing things. Maybe you have multiple monitors and you have windows across all of them. You click workspace and it'll save all the windows, all the tabs, and you'll have this kind of just memory of what you've opened before. So I'll close this, and then if I want to open them again, there's this little folder icon. You click that, all of them open to the same place. So you pick up right where you left off. This has been a great tool for me. If sometimes I'm organized, I'm working off of a project, I'm using a task list, going one by one through these tasks. But if I, on the other hand, end up down a rabbit hole and just have a bunch of tabs open, and I have to be done for the day, or the library's closing or whatever, hit workspace, save all your work, and then you can pick it up kind of right where you left off before. And you don't have to have it all organized before you kind of close Goldie May. So that's the workspace. Let's see, subway map, canvas, workspace. We talked about that. Volunteering, you could check out. That's a free thing where we're trying to build the family search tree. So that's what volunteering is. Okay, maybe I'll leave it there. Did I not show? What I didn't show is the task list that so let me just come in here to our project, go to tasks. Maybe this is what you'd expect, a task list that you can add to, delete from, mark completed. But then you see, for Goldie May Plus users, there's a little more to it, because a Plus user could go into somewhere in Family Search, right click, and then choose create task from the selected text. And then there's a few other options here too. So you'll see those. Okay, I think I have a bunch of videos on the Goldie May YouTube channel that go over all this, that show all this. Maybe the last thing I'd tell you too is if you're, I think I'm supposed to end about 30 minutes into this. If you want more time seeing a demo, we could maybe do that Monday. So if you could email me and just tell me you'd come or interested or what you want to hear in that demo, we may be able to do one after RootsTech. So you can email me at richard@goldiemay.com. Tell me what you're interested in seeing, that you'd be interested in coming to another demo like this, and we can go into more depth, maybe answer more questions. If you're getting started today, I go to goldiemay.com, and you'll click this gold button to install it. It'll take you over to the Chrome Web Store, and this, what's this remove button for me will say install for you or add. You'll click that and it'll be in Chrome. And then the YouTube channel has a lot of videos on all this stuff. The other place too is in the Goldie May menu. Actually you'll see it, but it's not here for me. There's a help page that has a list of videos too. It's live, but it's not showing here. Okay, let me take one more look at the chat, and then we'll just see if there's any other questions I can answer, and then we'll call it a day. Please add MyHeritage for a research option. Great idea. Thank you for all the comments. Really appreciate that from everyone. Okay, that's maybe I'll call it a wrap there. If I missed your question as I was reading through this, please email me, richard@goldiemay.com. Really grateful to have you here. It's been awesome. I really appreciate the interest. And if I can answer any questions, chat or email are great. And I will talk to you soon. Take care.